Welcome everybody to this first international MKN podcast. I'm Frank, and in the coming series of podcasts, we want to talk about what's happening in the industry, what makes people think they think actually. And I will have a co-host with me, Tim Lake, at the moment living in Sweden, a colleague for quite a while. Tim, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey Frank, how you doing?
Yeah, good, very good, very good. I mean, strange times at the moment. Working from home, trying these kind of mediums.
Yeah, it's an interesting medium, huh?
First recording, a little bit nervous, but let's see what we can make of this. And I think it would be a good way to start this by introducing ourselves. And why don't you start with that and tell me who you are, what you did, and how did you get to MKN?
Yeah, hey, well, yeah, Frank, thanks. For all of you that are out there that are listening, and I mean, some of you know me, some of you might not know me, but I'm from Australia originally, from Adelaide in Australia. And I did my apprenticeship as a chef in Australia. So it was a 4-year apprenticeship. And at the end of that, at the end of my apprenticeship, I, let's say, short, sharp and shiny, I ended up moving to London, the UK, where I had my first professional post as a chef. And I was there for a few years in London. During my period in London, I went to Norway a couple of times during the summer vacation period to actually work. I used my semester when I had my semester period to work in Norway. It was nice to get out of the UK for a while and get up into the lush green forests up in Norway, and interesting to see another culture as well. I'm really interested.
It's a beautiful country, Norway.
It's amazing. I've been
there quite a few times. It's a lovely country,
and I know you like fishing, mate. So
that's one of the reasons. Absolutely,
we could take that in another conversation. Yeah. So I ended up in Norway, working in a hotel in the Western Fjords, beautiful area. And during my trip, I met a lot of Swedish chefs that were working in Norway. Made a lot of friends around the world, as you do as a traveling chef, and ended up back in Australia after a few years traveling in Europe, between Norway and the UK, you could say. And then I got a call from Sweden one day when I was in Australia, and one of the Swedish chefs that I met, and he said, "Tim, can you come over to Gothenburg? We're opening up a new hotel. We'd love you to come over and support us during the opening." And I thought I'd be in Sweden for a year, and here we are 20 years later.
Wow. Unbelievable.
How about you, Frank?
Yeah, well, I see some parallels there as well. After doing my army time and trying to do a study at the university, microbiology, which at that moment I think wasn't the right choice for me, I started working and I needed some money. Got into a kitchen, really liked it. Didn't have my papers. Did a special study traject to get my papers, and started working as a chef, and went pretty soon because of the fact that I studied microbiology. There was a lot of physics and chemistry was involved. I made my way through the kitchen pretty fast. I went up the ladder, but again, didn't see myself working as a head chef for the rest of my life. So there was a point where in the last restaurant I worked, where we were thinking about a new kitchen. So we were talking to this dealer of kitchen equipment, and I thought, well, this is the best job there is. But with everything I learned till then that really would fit into place, I designed together with that dealer that kitchen, which ended up in me working for the dealer as a demo chef and salesman, a little bit later as head of sales. And we were selling MKN. In fact, the first MKN combi steamer was sold by us in the Netherlands. The first one that came from the factory.
Fantastic.
I think that was 4 years or something. And I got so close to MKN, and when I came again at Crossroads, I decided to start working for MKN.
Yeah.
And this is 16 years ago, and I mean, still loving my job, doing a lot of different types of work all around the world. I mean, we've been on some trips together.
Yeah, you and I have been on some pretty good trips, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've had some great times. It's been awesome. You know, like I've been with MKN for I've been there at MKN for over 3-4 years now, and before that, you told us a little bit about your history, a little bit more in depth than what I did. So I left the cooking industry 10 years ago, roughly 10 years ago. Well, you never really leave the cooking industry, right?
No, that's true.
But I left physically cooking on the high level that I was at, and ended up getting into the supply side. So I was actually working for a dealer. Started roughly 10 years ago working for a dealer towards the marine industry. They took me on board. They saw the positive aspects of bringing a chef on board, somebody that had been in live cooking, around the world.
And sorry to interrupt you, but that's a real important thing, and thing I really like with the company we work for at the moment with MKN. The organization of a kitchen is not something you can learn from a book. You have to have been there to see how things go, the problems that can happen, and like you said, having a chef is a big advantage, and that's the reason why at the MKN crew so many salesmen have a chef background, because only those people can give you the best solutions.
It makes sense, right? I mean, somebody that's been standing in the kitchen themselves, they know the flow, they know how it works, they know the function. It only makes sense. It's chef to chef business, chef to owner business, especially during the design phase of new projects. But I've been with MKN for some years now, and I went from the supplier side over to the manufacturer side, where we are now today, and it's been a really interesting transition, to go from the design side, the supplier side to the manufacturing side. And it's fantastic. What
was the trigger? What was the thing that really triggered you to do that?
Well, like when I was working on the supplier side, I actually saw that MKN kept popping up everywhere. There was inquiries coming in, and also I understood the quality of the MKN equipment myself. I'd used it I had been starting to use it on projects. I saw it more and more. I got more into depth into the MKN equipment. I also started meeting the crew of the behind the scenes crew at MKN, everybody that was involved behind the scenes, and basically, I fell in love with it. I love the team. I love working together with the team. How positive everybody is. It's just fantastic. And the quality of the equipment, it talks for itself. That's what made me come over. It was an easy decision to make. And to supply on our projects the quality of MKN equipment, is something that makes me. I've always, let's say like this, in my career as a chef, I've always worked hard. I've always worked for the most high-end restaurants possible, right? That I could do. I mean, I've really worked on the high end of the scale. With my crew in Gothenburg, for example, we achieved 1 Michelin star, the whole team, and that's the sort of level that we're working on. Something, when I came to MKN, something that blew my mind when I actually came on board, and that was released roughly at the same time, was FlexiChef. And when I saw a FlexiChef for the first time, and you introduced me to it, Frank.
Yes, absolutely.
It blew my mind.
Yeah, I can remember.
Do you remember?
I can remember.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, this was roughly 8 years ago, I guess. Yeah, 8 years ago, we launched. To be very honest with you, MKN rocked the market by introducing the FlexiChef.
Yeah,
it was it still is a multi-versatile platform. You can cook, fry, you can steam, you can pressure cook, which makes a tremendous difference in time. And we set new standards the day we introduced the FlexiChef. Yeah. And the reason why we're talking together today is to tell people more about that, because we put it up one more notch. The FlexiChef 2.0 is in the market right now.
Yeah.
And again, man, we redefined the standards we set ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you said.
And you are busy in the marine market,
Yeah.
and I heard quite some stories about that. That the FlexiChef is a game changer in the marine market. Maybe you can explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I'm working for the global marine segment mainly at MKN. That's one of the focus. That's a focus point for me, and the global marine segment, it's huge. I mean, until 2027, we've got 135 new build cruise ships on order. And
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when I started introducing FlexiChef with the team to the cruise operators, in the beginning they were not sure what it was, but once we started explaining what it was, they really understood what they could do in FlexiChef. It's a game changer. I mean, like you said, it's a multifunctional cooking appliance. I mean, as you said, high speed redefined. Once those guys on the ship really understood the capacity of the machine, of the FlexiChef, and what it could do, they really took it seriously. They started, a lot of the operators have now started to change their operations on board, designing it around FlexiChef to incorporate FlexiChef into their operations. I mean, You've seen that yourself, Frank. You've been with me on some of the ships that we actually put FlexiChef on board, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, for those who don't know the FlexiChef, and let's talk about the latest generation. This is high speed cooking.
It is.
What does high-speed cooking mean? I mean, we are twice as fast as traditional pressure cooking equipment, and we are 3 times faster than traditional cooking. So every culture has a beef stew. Whether this is a goulash or a brasato in Italy or whatever. And that can, if you start with a cold piece of equipment, till you have your ready-to-eat product. Normally, beef stew takes you at least 150 minutes. Unless you have this special beef quality from the cow that came on foot from China to here. I mean, you need even longer, but never. I mean, 2.5 hours is what you need. But with the new FlexiChef 2.0, we can do this in 52 minutes. Imagine.
I reckon we can do it shorter. I got to tell you, mate. I was in February. Now I was on board a new ship that we released. And I was on a long sailing across the Atlantic, and that was an experience. I can tell you that much. And it took a fair few days, right? And every day we set up workshops because it was a completely new release ship, and that was an awesome experience, by the way. Completely new release ship, and they built the whole concept around FlexiChef and the FlexiCombi. But FlexiChef was the major component of the cooking process. They got rid of all of the boiling pans. They got rid of all of the traditional braising pans, and they incorporated only FlexiChef. The thing was, I was on board and I had to train everybody, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of crew. There's a lot of crew on this ship. I mean, we're talking. I was doing 2 trainings a day, one in the morning, one in the evening, and it would be teams of 11 chefs on each training. And I'd start off with the basics. They had not really much of an idea of how to use the appliance and all of the accessories that came with it as well. So I started off by showing them the accessories. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I went down into the crew galley and I had 11 chefs standing around me. And on the right-hand side, I had a FlexiChef size 3. And on the left-hand side, I had a FlexiChef size 2. And they'd set up the FlexiChef size 2 with all of the accessories around. And that's where we were going to start. What to use the accessories for. And on the unit on the right-hand side, I could actually see when all the chefs were there, there was something simmering away in there. It had just started to come up to a bubble. And I turned to the crew galley chef and I said to him, what's in there? What's going on? And he said, it's a beef stew. And I said, well, how long has it been in there for? And he said, it's been in there for 8 minutes, 9 minutes. It's just come to the simmer. And I was like, okay. I said, why don't you cook it under pressure?
Yep.
Oh, this is how we normally do it. And I said, well, come on. All right, I'll show you this. So I didn't go into the guided cooking part of it, but I used the manual program, and I went into a manual program and I put it on the highest pressure level. I said, look, we'll put it on the highest pressure level. We'll give it a zap for 20 minutes. So we put it on for 20 minutes, highest pressure level. We closed the lid, and then that was it. So we went back to the original schedule, which was doing the training, and we started training on the other FlexiChef. And, time goes by really quick. And suddenly 20 minutes was up. The alarm went off, but nobody expected it to go off. So it starts buzzing. And they looked at me like, wow, is that
impossible?
Really?
Impossible. That's it.
I mean, yeah.
I know that look.
Yeah.
I know that look.
And everybody really freaked out. And it was one of those moments. And I said to all the guys, I said, all right, look, let's stop this demo right now. Let's go and have a look at what happened in there. So we opened the lid. I said, go grab your spoons, guys. And they all grabbed a spoon and we all pulled a piece of beef out. And I didn't want to try. I just wanted to see their faces. And they tried a piece of beef. And the crew and the guys just looked at me and they said, hey, this is done. This is actually done. I said, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And I said, well, that's why we're training on this now, to show you guys how to automate this in the guided cooking process. And
you've mentioned it twice now, the guided cooking. Yeah. I think that's another really important thing, because it all sounds like high technology and a lot of people are afraid of using that.
Yeah.
But with the guided cooking, it works like the navigation system in your car.
Yeah.
It brings you exactly to the destination you want to get to by telling you what to do and when to do it. It's called the chef's help function.
Yeah.
And the part of the guided cooking is the auto chef with all the programs, the favorite list to find those programs very easily. And and that only takes 10 minutes. You show people how that works and they start working with it. That's how intuitive the piece of equipment is. And it wonders me every time you see, when you come in, you see the big eyes. People are like, yeah, but I need a computer training to operate this first. But once you get talking to them, they open up, and it's amazing how fast people can work with it and achieve the goals.
They do. I mean, after that training session and the guys tasted that, they checked the beef tenderness, which was just perfect. They turned around and they said to me, they said, Tim, hey, okay, now we really need to get into the guided cooking processes. So we ran through it with them. We did a good training with them. And I left that training. The training took a couple of hours. After that training was done, I came back in the next morning to see if they're actually using it. Because that's also, you want to follow up. So I went in the next day to see if they were using it. And I kid you not, the pan was empty. There was nothing going on in the crew galley. And I was sort of like, well, why is there nothing going on? And I got in there probably about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, just before lunchtime. And I walked up to the chef and I said, what's going on? And he said, hey, we've actually used the processes. We're finished. We've produced what we needed to produce for today. And
absolutely,
they say, and he said to me, he said, Tim, now I can go and, have a cup of coffee and I'll be honest with you, I got to be honest. He said, now I can go and smoke my cigarettes and have a cup of coffee. That's what he said.
Yeah, but so talking about optimizing your processes.
Yeah,
it's a real time optimizer. We could call it that way.
Yeah,
because I've talked to chefs that have the FlexiChef, the old generation, and even to some guys already have the new one. And they say, man, we start working 1 or 2 hours later than we used to do.
Absolutely.
Because things go so fast.
Yeah. And that even for me, I have to be honest with you, when I first came on board at MKN and you guys started showing me, training me on my FlexiChef, it was actually, and this is the God's honest truth, it was really hard for me to understand or accept how fast it was. And I think that's that was really something that freaked me out about it. It was you're used to something in a boiling pan or a braising pan for a couple of hours, and now you're breaking this down into, half hour increments. It's so fast, and that's what sort of blew my mind. And it was hard it was hard for me to grasp. It was hard for me to understand what was happening. Yeah,
and that's the biggest problem. People don't believe us how fast the machine is. I remember we were doing a show in Italy, and of course we were cooking risotto. And we're telling the guys, hey guys, have you ever seen risotto in 8 minutes? And they were like, nah. And then I said, have you ever seen it without stirring? And they were like, nah, impossible. So we started traditional way, sweating the onions, adding the wine. And they took a chair and sat in front of us because they thought we were pulling them a leg. And they sat there till we were ready. And when the risotto came out, they were blown away. Once I actually said, well, it's not the risotto of my grandma, he said, but for a German and a Dutchman cooking a risotto here in Italy, you guys did a great job. So no, it's unbelievable how fast that machine is. And
it is. It is.
If you think about the future of the kitchen, we all know that kitchen are getting smaller. Rents are getting up. productivity has to be higher. Budgets are getting lower. So, in fact, what they want to do is they want to do more with less equipment.
Yeah.
And I think the FlexiChef, especially the new generation, the 2.0, is the perfect answer to this. You can have three times higher output from that footprint than you would have from traditional cooking equipment. That's unbelievable.
With the FlexiChef 2.0, I mean, we've minimized the footprint again, which was pretty. It's
unbelievable. Yeah.
It's an innovation. I mean, and like you said, space. Floor space costs money. It's as we say in the industry, it's bums on seats, right? So I mean, with what we've done with what we've done with the FlexiChef 2.0 by decreasing the footprint and keeping the same capacity, the same volume, it's a game changer again.
And what I really like, being a chef, you being a chef, we are efficient workers, which means we lazy fuck sometimes. And what comes in really handy is the space clean system, man.
The space clean.
At the moment, we are the only one in the world that has a cleaning system, an automatic cleaning system for horizontal equipment. And the best thing is, it's without chemicals.
My question is, why didn't we have that when you and I were still cooking, mate?
Absolutely. Well, luckily we didn't, because I hate the cleaning and got out of the kitchen. That was one of the reasons to do it. I would never get to the position where I am now, but this is really tremendous. I mean, in 2 or 5 minutes, you can have your equipment cleaned fully automatic.
Yeah.
Who could ever dreamt that would happen?
I wish we could turn back the clock. I would have used. I would have. Trust me, I would have used that like hell. I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing. I love the space clean. It actually pisses me off that I didn't have it when I was younger. Yeah.
No, but imagine you save time because the machine cooks so fast.
Yeah.
Then again, you save time because the cleaning goes so fast and the cleaning goes automatic. So once I inserted that cleaning arm and push the start button, the lid closes automatically. I can walk away and start prepping for my next dish. And in max 5 minutes later, the lid opens up. I push start for my next program, and I'm on to the next dish. That's if you, and whether this is production or high-end quality restaurants, the high-end restaurants. A lot of people think that all this type of technology is only meant for catering, institutional kitchen, but I think the contrary is true, because look at the Michelin star restaurants. They still make their own sauces, they make their own stocks, their broths.
Yeah,
normally those are overnight programs.
Yeah,
because those kitchens are so small, they don't have time to do that during the day.
Yeah.
But instead of doing my stock overnight in 8 to 12 hours, I can do it now in the morning in 2 to 3 hours. That's unbelievable.
I just want to back it up a little bit, cut you off there. Back to the space clean. There's something, on the cruise ships, which is really important to, we're talking about the environment. On land side, we're talking about the environment, and even on the cruise ships,
big issue at the moment.
It's a huge issue on the cruise ships as well, and it's about energy saving consumption. And the space clean is an awesome benefit on board ships. Because on board ships we bunker water, right? You've only got a limited supply of water, and with the space clean using such a minimum amount of water to do such a great job. It's fantastic. The second benefit of it is especially for the operators, is that during the cleaning process of space clean, there's no chemicals used.
Yep.
And this is huge, because it's not only for the environment, but it's also an additional cost. And when they're watching the costs on the ships, every operator watches their costs, but to understand that there's no costs involved regarding chemicals for space clean, this is just awesome. It's a win-win situation. The environment wins, and the owner wins.
What is our message? Start saving money. Start using the FlexiChef.
Pretty much.
It's unbelievable. And again, you mentioned size 2 and 3 you had on the ships.
Yeah. And
I think you were talking about flexibility. We have 3 sizes. The smallest is 50 liters. The biggest is 150 liters. it's there is a FlexiChef for every situation. And then again, we can make the team versions where you have two next to each other with two separate screens for every machine. And by the way, that's one of the biggest improvements, the new screen on the FlexiChef 2.0. I mean, it's a real 10.2 inch screen. It's fast. It has a very high resolution.
Yeah.
It's fun to work with that.
It is. It is. When I first saw it, it was a really, really good upgrade. I was very impressed.
But you have sold quite some of those already into your land territories, haven't you?
Yeah. You know, I also work with the Scandinavian market, and Norway is a very active market regarding FlexiChef. You know, they're. I mean, well, you know about it. We did an installation. One of our companies did the installation at the hospital in Norway, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I know we actually sent you up there for training. So I wasn't there, mate. How did you go? How was the training? Was the training good?
It was, and it was as easy as the others were. I mean, the thing is, you have to start to show the people that they don't need to be a computer specialist to operate the system.
Yeah.
And once they have hands-on, man, they can't stop working with it. It's so easy to learn the people. You have the Auto Chef with the preset programs.
Yeah.
You have the guided cooking that really helps them step by step to understand it. And I mean, you even months after you get feedback or questions from, hey, how can we do this? How can we incorporate it more into a routine? And I think that's where our chef's background is a really big help.
Yeah.
We can help them to implement it even deeper into their organization, and have the revenues are getting bigger and bigger. I mean, I think it's one of the main future assets in the kitchen. It saves you money, it saves you time, it saves you space. It's multifunctional. It's unbelievable.
It is. It is something that I like about it. I mean, all of the features, you know, from the high speed and the guided cooking concept to space clean. One of the things that I really enjoy about the FlexiChef is the robustness of it. It's really a quality build. I mean, I'm impressed by the quality of the build. It's solid. It's a really solid piece of equipment. And the beauty of it is that you can do such tender things in it, you know. It's so versatile. But it's almost bulletproof, you know. I look at it and I look at the quality of the build.
Well, don't say that. Don't say that. People are going to try that.
Well, you would.
That would be a nice test.
You're ex-military, mate, so you probably would. Next test. Put that on the list. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And what is interesting as well is that it can be connected to the MKN Connected Kitchen software. In the future, where we can really, from a distance, you can upload programs, you can download programs, you can download HACCP to a central database. That's the future. I mean, we have it on our combis as well, and more people are getting into this, man. I mean, I think it's the future. And especially the situation we are in at the moment worldwide, I think that blasted us 10 years ahead into the digital time. Because now we have to, or this is the only way to communicate and to do things. So I'm glad that we came up with those possibilities, because the people are asking for it.
You know, I'd just like to say, I mean, there's going to be a few listeners, hopefully, to this podcast, and something I'd like to say is, guys, if you've ever considered FlexiChef or an appliance like FlexiChef, give it a go. Once you've used it, you'll probably never be able to incorporate an appliance. You know, you'll always keep that sort of appliance incorporated into your operations. Once you use it, you know, FlexiChef. Once you've used it, you'll never go back.
That's the thing. That's for sure. Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah, you've got to try. You've really got to try it out, and once you've done that, you'll be convinced yourselves. So, I mean, the only unfortunate thing is I don't have one at home yet. You know, I can actually do this more. I can do this. I hope that the company's listening. I need one at home.
Yeah, you can invite the whole street to come have dinner with you.
Yeah, I could.
And you'll have it ready in 15 minutes.
Friday sessions at Tim's house. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, but I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, high-speed cooking most of the time is seen in connection with bulk cooking.
Yeah.
But with the flexi zone cooking, where we can divide the bottom into different temperature zones, you can do really, do a breakfast with your bacon, with your potatoes, with your mushrooms, your eggs, and it's unbelievable how that temperature is being kept in that zone and how accurate it really is.
It really is. Yeah.
As a chef, I always love presenting it to people, doing a demo with it, because everybody comes to the point during that demonstration where they say, "Wow, I've never seen this before." That's fun to show.
The awesome part during your demos, when you've done demos with me, the best part of the demos is when you do the pancake mix, and you put you actually put different temperatures in the individual zones. So you split the bottom. You split the bottom of the pan into its individual zones.
Yeah.
From where you're going to burn the pancake all the way down until it's going to keep a nice white color.
Absolutely.
And then you've got your 4 different zones. That blew me away the first time, and I always ask you to do it in the demo just to show the guys. I know, but it's key. It's so that they really understand it. And they can see it physically. That's the thing. I mean, you can stare at the bottom of a pan and it looks nice and polished stainless steel, but when you actually put that pancake in and you flip it over that first time and watch those guys' faces, they're like, "Holy, wow, this is okay. We understand. We've got you."
Yep. Yeah, man, it's fun working for a company that puts so much effort in developing new equipment and looking into the future. And, I mean, and it's important. I mean, times have changed and times will change, and we have to adapt to those kind of situations.
We do, absolutely.
For those who don't know MKN, I mean, I would invite them to have a look at our website, www.mkn.com, and especially, of course, have a look at the FlexiChef 2.0, which is on our new website at the moment. Really have a look at that. And I think with that, Tim, we've spoken quite a bit about the FlexiChef, and
there's too much to cover. We've got a lot to talk about. So I think,
from one, it's hard to just talk about it. I mean, we did a live stream on Instagram 2 weeks ago. Stefan Kozik and me, and we got some great feedback on that. I mean, you have video when you do a live stream on Instagram, which helps a lot, but still people are not believing it. So if you really want to see it, come to a seminar, look on the internet. There's invitations for demonstrations, for seminars, for webinars. Whoever wants to see it, feel free. And I think, Tim, with this, I think
we'll wrap it up shortly. I'd like to just say that, anybody out there listening, that if please reach out to us. You can always take direct contact with Frank and myself. We're always here. We're there to answer questions. We're here to help. It's a pleasure. So, and the rest of the team behind MKN, we're all here for you. So, just reach out if there's anything we can do for you. Let us know.
Cool. Yeah, and man, I really like doing this.
Yeah, it was good. It was my first time.
hope to meet you soon again. On this podium, and to talk about our next subject.
Check it out.
All right, man. Have a great day.
All right, Frankie. Take it easy, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.